know people. I've never seen any human ever fall out of a male, the male principle. But at the same time, I understand with the Bible, the basic instructions before leaving Earth are trying to get across when they say that we're coming from Adam or Atom or Adham, however you want to look at it. Like the basis being Adam, ATOM or ADAM or whatever, or ADHAM. So a lot of this has to do with the fact that the soul is coming through from the ether through the male principle into the density. So from the ether through the male principle into the female, who is denser than the male. And we all know that the female is more dense than the male. They're more grounded on this earth. They hold more water on this earth. Water is one of the most densest things in existence. They hold more of it. So when they're more grounded, and they're more in tune with this earth and its physical and metaphysical, the different changes and tides of the earth and everything around it, this existence, then they're more introverted. And again, water makes you more deep, makes you more introverted. You have more depth in things. You don't take things for face value as quick. But there are extroverted females, don't get me wrong. So all I'm saying is that the female is the density, come through the density. And the penis is actually female principle. People don't want to buy that, but that's actually female principle. Like, the vagina is actually male principle. So, yes, that's rough for people to take on. But again, we're just a makeup of the male and female principle, binary code, 1010. That's it, male, female principle. Everything is acid, alkalinity, whatever you want to call it. The whole life is based on this duality. So when we get into the Eve-ills, Eve, the Eve-ills, D-evils, and we get into this whole thing about women being no bueno, not good, and committing the first sin, casting the first sin. We could go to what is that? Let's see where we at. Genesis 2:17 or Genesis 3:6. We can go to either 2:17 or 3:6, either one. You can read from there and go on. But again, they say that Eve eats from the knowledge of the tree. Eats from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Because I guess everything was perpetual happiness at this point. It's just perpetual happiness in the Garden of Eden, which we could call Africa, or whatever we could call it that. We could call it the epicenter of all mankind or humankind. That we could call that that Eden, that perpetual vacation. So she eats from this forbidden fruit, and as far as my interpretation, where I'm going to take it, because the first thing they do after she eats it, gives it to Adam, and Adam eats it. The first thing they do is hide from God, right? Hide from themselves and cover their bodies up. They sew fig leaves together and cover their nakedness. Hiding the self-hate begins at that point. They didn't know self-hate. They had 360 obedience to self and love and to selfless giving. And then they delve into that, and the first thing they do is cover their bodies up, engaging in self-hate, and they hide from God. So they hide from themselves. So that would be my interpretation of it. I know a lot of people, might argue that that's not the case, but I feel like that's the first step in self-hate, covering the body up. And if we're born naked, so we're born naked. So where on the earth would that? Where would on the earth would naked existence? Where would that be housed at? More so in equatorial regions, anywhere warm, anywhere constantly warm, would be more of a host than above, like, certain parallels. Like, honestly, we're not supposed to be living above a certain parallel, really. Like, you don't see polar bears coming on down. You don't see them. You don't see certain things happening unless unnatural things force it to happen. Encroachment, different things like that. Like I said, like with people saying the animals are supposed to eat flesh, has everything to do with them being encroached upon. Their body just converts energy. That's what the animal body does. It just converts energy. It's just like this animal, this beast, because that's what the body is. 666 is just breathing 18 breaths or more in a minute, 6 or more breaths every 20 seconds. So shallow breaths. People will be like, that's a lot of breaths in a minute, but if they're shallow, you don't even pick up on them. Those are really shallow breaths, so you're worried about being the object. That's where your mind is if you breathe like that. If you're not really getting a deep abdominal breath, you'll be focused on the body and its desires. That's the beast. So these beasts have been encroached upon, and they're not living. This is not natural. None of this is natural. So we can't say they're in their natural habitat or anything like that. None of this is natural. So all bets are off at this point. So yeah, when it comes to the evil, I would say that the forbidden fruit is man-made plants, cultivars, cultigens, things that are not products of God or nature or the self, whatever you want to call that, prime creator. That is what the forbidden fruit is. Starch-based plants, acid-based plants, not things that are alkaline as a whole. Complete alkaline things, like the body is alkaline as a whole. It's not one or the other, it's both, but as a whole, it's alkaline. Like if you eat anything that is of nature, it will be alkaline as a whole. It will carry its own pH balance. And if you extract something from it, it will be acidic because you're isolating something. So you remove something from the body and you say this is acidic. But as the body as a whole, it's alkaline. So that's the fuel for the body. The blood is alkaline. You know, we're mineral based. You know, we're mineralized people. So that's our fuel. It's kind of that simple. And the only thing that can convert iron from the soil, like the lifeblood that runs through us all, natural plants they're the only ones that can perform iron throophoresis. And iron is magnetic, of course, pulling all minerals in its vicinity to it. So if you get iron, you get a host of other minerals. And yeah, only more natural plants can do that. But the more broken something is, anything broken, the bugs will eat it up for you. They do you a favor, but then the farmers have to spray. They have to spray it because it's unnatural, and then the bugs didn't let us eat it. So it's not that, you know, it's no bueno. And then all the while the soil is eroded. So bitter soil, bitter people. You know, eroded soil, eroded people. We've eroded our topsoil, and when a nation's soil erodes, the nation erodes. That's just that simple. So when it comes to cultivars, cultigens, man-made plants, they're all starch-based, acid-based, from their product of cross-pollination of two plants that are not of equal vibration. So the binding agent that brings these two vibrations or frequencies together is starch. Starch is there in every hybrid plant. Some more significant than others. There might be more starch in potato than there is in celery. But starch is present. It's there. It's acid-based, regardless. And people always get on me about soybeans and stuff like that. Why do you like soybeans? Are for putting nitrogen back into the soil. They're never a food product. That's why they're starch and glycerin based. But let me digress a little bit. Tree of good and evil, forbidden fruit, man-made fruits. First thing that you do once you ingest something that is not of nature, you start to think unnatural thoughts, because you put something into the physical body, which injects something into the mental body, and now we have an upside down world. So we go from love to hate, and the first step in self-hate is to hate what we are, to hate the body, to cover up, and hate where you came from. So you leave the garden instead of being a guardian.